the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I can already tell that you have an incredible positive energy, which is very exciting. Very exciting indeed.
I try to. We have to be better humans every day and try to generate love so we can handle all that is going on right now. So
Exactly. Exactly. As you say, it's an emotional time. There's a lot going on in the world and needs healing, and music is a beautiful way to do exactly that.
exactly. And how are you? How's your day?
Oh, I'm having a very lovely day. It's beautiful outside. The weather's beautiful. I mean, my life, I'm healthy, I'm happy, so this is all I can ask for.
That's great. So grateful. Nice.
And yourself?
Yeah, I'm very. There's a lot. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot going on, so I'm trying to handle and balance everything. But I'm very good. The release is coming. My EP is done, so I'm very happy and I'm at the right place. So when you're on the right place in life, then the small emotions that come through, it's okay. I don't know if it's clear what I say, but the fact that you're on track with your life, the other things that are a bit negative just seem smaller, if that makes sense.
Puts things in perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I understand. I understand for sure. Are you ready to jump into some of your journey, some of your musical healing?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. So you mentioned there that there's a single coming out, that there is an EP on the way, but of course I want to lay a little bit of a foundation before we discuss that. So what I would like to start out with is exactly that moment is for an artist to decide to release music, there needs to be exactly that moment where you decide, I want to put myself out into the world. So what was that moment for Anyma?
Oh my God, it's a long story, but to try to make it short, I went through a lot of searching in myself, and I lost my father and I lost my grandmother, and there was so many things happening at that moment of my life, and I kind of um, battled with myself to really know where I was going, and I was questioning life and why all those emotions happen at once, and it was a really rough time. So I had to leave. I went to California with a friend, and there was this moment where I just saw there was a beach, and I fell on my knees in the water, and it was really cold, and I just got into this moment with myself where I was just crying and crying, and I looked at the sky and I asked my ancestors and spirits in a way like, please, I'm not okay. I don't feel good and I don't want to stay here on earth. So it was kind of a big calling of like, if I don't make music, come and get me. So I think in that big calling, it was just like, well, do music. It's just kind of the answer was in the question that I asked. So at that moment, when I got up from the water, I was all wet, and I got back to my friend. I just felt this big rush of, my heart was pounding, and it was just the start of me putting my music in and bringing. I started to send to producers and being like, hey, do you want to work with me? And putting money and putting my time and energy and doing really professionally. So it had to be. I had to go to the bottom to reach for the top, kind of, even if it's a bit cheesy to say, but yeah, that's kind of the short version of it.
No worries, and cliche lines are perfectly okay as well too, because I mean, as myself, I perfectly know that sometimes you need to hit a rock bottom, and rock bottom is a perfectly good place to get back on your feet sometimes.
Exactly. I kind of see it also like a seed, it's a big cliche again, but like when you're a seed and you don't know what you are yet because you're still in the obscure state, and you're doing your roots, and you're doing the roots really profound, and it's a painful journey sometimes to get out of that seed. And then once you're ready and really grounded, you can grow. But at first you don't know what flower you are because it takes time for the sun and the rain. And then you see what, if you're a tree or if you're a flower or if you're whatever plant. So it's kind of that process of me maybe coming out of the seed and being out in the world and be like, hey, there's sun. you know? So, so yeah, kind of that.
What direction do you grow once you've finally broken through the soil, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So you said there that you started to message producers and otherwise to get started. So did you have an idea of what sort of sound you wanted to go for right off the beginning? Because you have quite a melding of different genres of different sounds inside of that anima music. So did you have that right off the bat, or did that take time to craft?
I think that's an every like it's a journey. So I think that it's always a bit changing and we're always like in discovering new things. But I've always knew that I wanted to be pop, and really like easy for people to hear and to go into the music. But I've always wanted it to be um, grounded and powerful. I wanted people to feel some strength when they listen to the music. So it was going with percussions, and that comes from my culture when that it's First Nation from Quebec. So it was to get some flutes and but little small pieces of it, so it doesn't get only native music. So it's pop, and into that you explore a lot of different genres. So it's an ongoing process. I mean, but of course I love to play with a lot of mixtures and also like cinematic stuff. And one of my favorite composers is Hans Zimmer. So I love to go a bit into the world of movies and to bring a bit of a cinema touch to it also. So,
Oh,
yeah.
so not just creating the audio world, but you also sort of have that idea of the visual aspects of everything. So when it comes to the visual identity of who Anima is as well in the pictures with the face paint, with everything else, you have a strong identity where, once again, like you say, paying homage to who you are, what you've come from, the community that helped to build you, but also not pigeonholing yourself, because sometimes that does happen inside of the music industry where, oh, well, they're an Indigenous artist. So they are only up for Indigenous awards or whatever it happens to be, right?
Exactly. And that's not the goal. Like it's kind of, let's just be out in the world with everyone. It's like the whole, we're all brothers and sisters in one, in the planet. So let's just be you humans, that's why my EP is called Humans. So it's kind of, we're all the same thing.
Okay, awesome. So once again, there's one more step before we get to this new single, this EP, and that is your first single, Circus. So after fighting through some of those low moments in order to find these new highs, in order to find your voice, what was it finally like to release that first piece of yourself out into the world?
It was for me the beginning of the great journey of being who I've always wanted to be in a way. Because I've always been on stage. My father was a producer, and I was singing at 4 years old. I had a microphone, and I would already be in that space, and I would feel home when I would be on stage because you could be anyone, and you can just really you share something with people, and it's a communication. So it's kind of when I released Circus, for me it was like my first what I wanted to say at that moment. And it just, yeah, it kind of tinted the first step for this journey of becoming who I am supposed to be on earth. Because, when you find your purpose and your true dream and you follow your dreams, right? And then you just did that first step and then you're like, oh my God, it's such a beautiful step. And every step is important, even though it doesn't maybe get even if there's not a lot of people who listen to it for at first, it's just an ongoing process and you just trust the process. So it was just a nice first step that I was really proud of to pursue my dreams.
It's those building blocks, that foundation, because like you say, not every step is a giant one, but every little piece is important.
Yeah, right on.
I love it. I love it. So, moving on from Circus into this new single, into this new EP. So, this new track, If God Had a Boat. So, growing from Circus, how do you feel that you grew as a writer or recording artist in between this time?
Uh, I went a bit more personal to my own emotions. Like I said before, I had to go through a lot of lows. Circus is more about what I feel about society and just being like there's this circus inside your head and, finding your way through this. But if God had a boat is touching my own vulnerability and my emotions where I told you I did not want to stay on earth if I was not making music. So that was a really hard part of my life that I just had to put in lyrics and really straightforward lyrics where I was like, I am not okay. And my way of healing this was to write this in the song. So it was being more true to exactly what was going on in my own world. So maybe the evolution from Circus to If God Had a Boat is the personal, my heart is more poured into If God Had a Boat.
Okay, so after releasing that first sort of piece of yourself, you became a little more comfortable because it can be scary too.
It is. Yeah.
So what piece of yourself, what vulnerability are we sharing here with this new track here with If God Had a Boat?
Well, like I said, I think it was the fact that we have to acknowledge our, depression and the darkness sometimes that we go through as humans. And it's to talk about those things and to let yourself say those things because we're kind of going on this, we're more and more talking about those things like mental health issues and, you know, suicide and all those things that are really hard to go through. So since I really went through this process inside of me and I found a way to heal and to go to my full potential, in a way, even though it's a life going thing, but it's going through the darkest part of a human and to bring it to a beautiful way of being, if that it makes sense. So it's that vulnerability of being at my lowest and to try to go at my highest at that moment. So
Okay, so like riding a boat, it's sort of like that voyage.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome, awesome. I really love that. So you mentioned that you enjoy the visual aspects of things. So is there going to be a music video for this track as well?
Yes, it was during the pandemic, so we were like a bit, we did not have a lot of people and it was a bit smaller. But I think since it's such a uh, um, intimate song and it fits with that. So it's just me singing and being in my little emotions. And there's a dancer called Aisha and she's beautiful and she's also Wendat from my community. And we just put our forces together and she dances in the snow and I'm there trying to, it's kind of finding your strength to pick yourself back up and to be a warrior during those hard moments. So it's kind of this journey of I don't feel good until I feel good, So yeah, so that's the video.
Okay, awesome. And then you also, from my research, happen to be a dancer as well. So still sort of tying A to the community and B to your past.
Yeah, I'm not a professional dancer, but I love to dance. And I think like my body wants to move always. It's one of my ways of healing also. So when I'm going to do shows, I want to dance. I think it's one of the ways to give even more of the healing, So yeah.
Well, and it's just another beautiful form of expression that can help to, as you've said, you enjoy the visual aspect. So it helps to add to stage presence or whatever it happens to be.
Totally. The movement of the body, like, just goes with music. So it has to be that way.
Okay. Awesome. So you mentioned that your upcoming EP is entitled Humans. So without giving away too many of the secrets here, what can you tell us about this upcoming project?
It's exploring a lot of the aspects of being human. So it's so many things, and it's also my journey and my observations and my emotions. It's me going through questions and what the society brings in as well, and how to cope with weird stuff that's going on, So it's going through all the aspects of being a human in my way of feeling it. So, there's 6 songs on the album, and Circus is one of them. And then If God Had a Boat. So you see that the Circus is more about like the society and how we can rise from this point. And then If God Had a Boat, where it's more, I want, suicide, and then to rise up from there. And then there's, so it's a lot of things in one EP, but yeah, so it's exploring humans' emotion, I think.
Okay. Continuing to explore the highs and the lows of the human experience.
Yeah, the light and the dark.
Well, we all have it. Nobody is happy 100% of the time. And for some reason, some people think that there's just this happiness switch.
Yeah.
You just get to turn on, but it's sometimes you have to have those low moments in order to appreciate when you do actually get to those highs.
Exactly. It's always the same coin. It's 2 faces of the same thing. It's like there's sun, but there's the moon. It's the same. It's a duality, the woman and men, and we create the humans with this duality of, it's a duality, but there's harmony that can be done in that thing, like the yin and the yang, so.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, I have had a blast diving behind your journey up to this point, this new single, and this upcoming EP, Anyma. I have one last question. Are you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we have discussed that growth into this musical journey. So what I want to know now is, over these past couple of years of releasing yourself into the world, of crafting your sound, building yourself, finding this confidence, and rising up out of your darkness, how has it helped you grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourself?
That's a good question. Thank you. One thing I think that pops up like really fast is time. Give yourself the time to let yourself rise, and those things is not, you don't decide that in one day and then tomorrow you're already doing what you have to do in life. It's an ongoing process, and to give yourself this space and time to go deep into your own emotions, to let them out and face yourself, face the fears you have, the blockages you have. Those things take time. So the fact that it took me, because I'm 26 years old, and since I'm 4, I wanted to sing. So why did it take so long? And sometimes I'm like, I should have done that before, but it had to be that way, because that's what I had to say to people. It had to take that time for me to share it the right way, So I've learned that those good things take time, So that's the first thing that comes up. But there's a lot of things. But let's say, to keep it simple, that we need to give ourselves some time and space to heal before, But yeah, and to listen to yourself and your heart, and to the people that surround you. That's another really big thing.
Listening is a very important. Not enough people do it, or not enough people do it properly, maybe.
Exactly. We need to listen with an open mind and an open heart, that people have some things that they can bring you, even if you don't agree with them. It just opens up a door, and that you confront yourself and your own way of thinking, but it brings you to say how you think. And, it's nice. It's good.
It's very nice. And I enjoy that perspective. And thank you for sharing it with us. And thank you for sharing your journey here today with me on the Desert Tiger podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you.